Hey guys, what is going on? It is Ando, and today we're going to talk about something that's probably, I won't say a little misunderstood, but I think some things have gotten a little bit confused, and I've seen a lot of complaints and I've seen a lot of confusion about it. So I'm just decided to make a video on it so that we can share it and talk about it in the comment section down below or in the Discord, which that link will be in the description below. But we're going to talk about GAC matchmaking and common errors or kind of misnomers that are happening with the GAC matchmaking. So let's get into this video, guys. Okay, guys, before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you to everyone who watches, whether it's the YouTube video or the live streams on Twitch. All the people that like and share this and everything that you guys do, it all helps and you guys are huge supporters. But this specific thank you goes out to the Commandos, as I quite literally could not do this without them. So big thank you to you guys. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the video. Okay, guys, so we've all seen the Discord messages and all this other stuff, the complaints, the Reddit posts, and all this stuff of why things are happening and how you're getting matched against someone that's 1.2 million GP more than you and stuff like that. So before we kind of dissect this and think about this, let's take a quick look back on Grand Arena, and because I think we need to understand the history in order to understand what we currently have, and so that way we can kind of understand where this is all coming from. So almost 2 years ago to the date, GA was just kind of thrown at us, and it was this awesome experience. It was only a week long, and it was based off your overall. The way that they match make you was based off your overall GP, right? So, you might be 3.2 million GP, Division 3. There were divisions, by the way, but you might be facing a Division 2 guy that's 4 million. I don't remember the exact brackets, but I'm just giving you a for instance. The divisions weren't actually a hard lock type thing that you only could face within the division. Like you could go up or down depending on how far away you were in GP from kind of that cutoff point. So obviously this had a lot of backlash because a lot of people at that time, the highlight of PvE content was Darkside Hoth TB. A lot of people and a lot of guilds decided to level 50 or level 80, level 85. A lot of, I won't call them useless characters, but characters that were just meant to be fluff to your GP so that when you deployed, it was like a bigger number and you get more stars by doing so. Right, so people were throwing mods on them, people were upgrading their abilities, only to just know that they were just going to hit deploy on them and then that was going to be it, or to platoon them or whatever. But people, when Grand Arena came out, it was a big hit, and people. But the one big thing was that they were being matchmaked against people that they felt like were way out rostered by because of their GP, and it was because of their previous investments that they had made, and so they felt like that was kind of going against them. Now you fast forward 3 to 6 months from that, and people start having this in the back of their mind, so they start not applying zetas and not applying omegas or not even upgrading abilities on people, and they are ripping mods off of characters. They're doing everything they can essentially to not increase their overall GP. And CG came out and they said basically this is not inherent within the game. Like they didn't foresee this happening, and so they're trying to fix it. And so they came out with GAC, and basically it was this way of where they would only take the top portion of your roster and match make you based off of that. And then also divisions were going to be this hard structure thing that you can only match within division, right? So no more Division 2 facing Division 3, Division 1 facing Division 2, right? It was only Division 2 facing Division 2, etc. So that was one of the big changes there was we're going to take the top number of your characters. We're going to match make you to someone that has a similar GP of their top characters, and that's how you're going to fight. Okay. So obviously there's pros and cons to that, and we'll get into that a little bit later because that's more talking about the current. I still want to stay here in the past because, again, going off this scope where people felt like they're being penalized for playing the game, investing in characters and stuff like that. They felt like they're being penalized, right? And so this is another big complaint that I always see. Oh, I'm less GP than someone, but we had a draw, and now I'm gonna be losing. Why am I losing? Because I have, less characters. I should actually win just based off of me being more efficient or whatever with my characters. So again, taking into the scope of they want to incentivize people building up their rosters, right? So they're going to give the tiebreaker to the bigger account, because if they didn't do that, then the bigger accounts would say, well, I'm being penalized for doing things in the game that I should be doing, or playing the game, right? And then that attitude sparks the whole attitude of, well, I'm just not going to upgrade this character, and I'm not going to place mods on this character or whatever. So that was the big reason. So understanding that, where we came from, I think is important to understand where we currently are. Okay, so let's actually talk about where we currently are. Okay, where we currently are right now, the way that GAC matches you up is, let's just say that you're in 5v5. And there is, I will say right now, there is a little bit of a question mark here. If you know the answer, be sure to hit up the comments section down below. Or if you're in the Discord, type in the Discord and let us know, because I actually haven't found an exact answer on this. And I don't know if maybe it was in a Q&A or something like that I missed. But for the most part, I think it's actually kind of an unknown, especially after they added 2 fleets to Division 1 and Division 2. But I don't know how fleets kind of affects the matchmaking at all. I don't know if it's now like your top 14 ships or like your capital ships plus a couple ships. I don't know. So if you do know that, be sure to hit the comment section down below, because I obviously want to know this stuff too. But the way that we'll just put an example out, right? It's 5v5, and I have to place down 5 squads, right? That is 25 characters. Typically, the way that we've kind of known to judge how this is happening is take however many characters that you have to place on defense, multiply that number by 2. So in that scenario where we had 25 characters, we'll now multiplying that by 2, we got 50. So we would be matching on the top 50. So if you just go into your account and you just count down to 50, you should get a relatively good idea of what you're going to be matchmaked against, because of your gear levels and your relic levels based off of that. Now, again, we're gonna kind of push relic levels and stuff to the side because we want to talk about that a little bit later. But that is currently how we are matched up against each other, right? So it is based off of how many squads that you lay down on defense, multiply that by 2. Those characters beyond that. So let me just throw in an example here. If I have all R7, all Zetas, all ultimates, on my top 50 characters, and then at that 50th character, it drops off, right? Like, I just could only invest in those 50 characters, and I just wanted to be the completionist and just complete those guys. And then I'm now starting to work on my 51st character, but I haven't actually done anything yet, right? So I'd have 50 characters all reliced out, right? I would be facing the guy that has every character, all 190 characters at R7 with all Zetas and everything, right? Because to the GAC matchmaking system, we have the same GP, right? However, he might have the advantage, right? Like, if I fail an attack, that sucks for me. Like, that's pretty much gonna be it, because I'm not gonna be able to level 1 something down, right? But if he fails an attack, he's got 20 more squads or whatever that he can throw at it. And so that is where I think a lot of people say, wait, how am I getting matched up against someone that's I've seen as far as 1.5 million GP difference, right? So, but also know that this can also work in people's favor too. A guy like Wat Tambor comes into mind, right? Like, if you have Wat Tambor and they don't, and you can have, he works at 4 stars with a Zeta, gear 6. Like, as long as he's got his Zeta, he's so good. And if you have him at low stars, he's not being factored into your GP matchmaking, and so he's going to be, a huge asset for you moving forward, even though he's not in your top, 50 or whatever your GP is. So again, there's pros and cons to it, but again, it was supposed to limit that. Hey, I just upgraded these characters because I wanted the fluff and I wanted to deploy, and they're just fun characters, right? But I'm not like heavily investing in them. I don't use them in GAC. And so this is why, I shouldn't be penalized for having those characters. So now, again, we talked about the top 80 versus roster, GP, and stuff like that. Let's talk about what we said that we're going to push off to the side a little bit, and that is relics. Okay, so I would say right now in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, there's two things that probably most players are committing themselves to in a, I won't say a wrong fashion, because there's not necessarily a right or wrong answer in this game. But the two that I'm talking about would be mods and relics. And that's because they're probably some of the more important things in the game. So up above me, I'm going to post something. Basically, these are stats that I ripped from SWGoH.gg, a great tool for those of you guys that are new. But I just wanted to show you guys that like relics it's not the answer for everything, right? And I think people think that relics are just sort of like gear levels and you just kind of add them, and like it's just the progression of things, right? And I'm here to say that while that's not necessarily wrong, it's not necessarily right. It's just, I think, like, especially for the newer accounts and stuff like that, and if you want to be really, really competitive in GAC, you need to really take a hard look at and see who you are relicking, and especially if you're taking them to high levels. So this in this specific instance, it was a GBA Relic 7. That was his only relic, and it was a relatively new account. And I get it at that point in time, right? That is going to win you matches in GAC. But overall, I would not say that GBA is a guy that you need an R7 on. And again, this is taking into the scope that we're trying to not just game the matchmaking, but we're just trying to make it to where it's fair. And that's the big thing. I want to make that delineation, right? There's things that people are doing. If you look at the top of Division 1, they're specifically not bringing characters up to high relics in order to avoid like GL matches and stuff like that, and they're trying to game the system in order to basically win all the time. And I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to explain to you guys why you might have one GL and are facing two GLs, or you might have no GLs and you're facing a guy that has two GLs, right? And I've seen it before too. I've faced guys like that, and so I'm just trying to explain that. So if that is like your goal to not have that happen, then R7s are definitely, like, you need to be very, very wary of them, because of the stats that they give you, and the GP that it adds is going to increase that top 80 or top whatever character number that you have, that GP that they're looking at. And there's perfectly, like, again, I just want to clear the air. There's perfectly good reasons why people add R7s to people. And I'm certainly not trying to go against any of that, right? You're not, if you look at some of the top rosters on Division 1, they're probably not earning a cam shard, right? They're probably not earning top in their squad arena. And those are two big reasons, right? Events and stuff like that are big reasons why you would R7 somebody. But it goes beyond that too. And this is supposed to be a video tailored for everybody. So, if you decided that you were gonna gear 12 all your Ewoks, that's fine for the C3PO event. Maybe it saved you some time, or maybe it saved you some effort, but and maybe add all Zetas. But if you look at the collective of those 5 characters and the GP that you added versus someone that did it with gear 10s and maybe only 1 Zeta or something like that, all of a sudden now you are starting to see why they might have these higher tier characters at better gear levels and you might have some of these mediocre teams that are pulling a higher matchmaking weight for you than you would ideally want. And last but not least, let's just talk about this with GAC matchmaking. It is a flawed, it is a system, and every system is flawed, right? So there are ways to exploit it. Again, this is supposed to be more of an informational video that is supposed to explain to people, one, what are you doing that might be causing you these kind of huge mismatches? And two, again, explaining like, hey, why are we where we are now? And I would say that overall that matchmaking is better than what we originally had. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, but I want a better one. And I get that. I'm just trying to tell you guys where we are currently. But again, guys, we're just creating this video just for informational purposes. What you guys do with your account is totally on you. Ball's in your guys' court. I'm just trying to provide the information because I see a lot of complaints. I see a lot of misinformation spreading around, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it and can kind of take that information and tailor it to however you see fit. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one.